What's good, beautiful people? We are on here a little bit early, but that'll give us some time together to get into these vibes. I was gonna go ahead and do an energy clearing ritual off camera, but something said go live a little bit early, so let's go ahead and do that together. This exercise that I'm doing is a little bit of Qigong. You guys can use it today. It's a super duper, very simple exercise, but very powerful in terms of moving your energy. So you just want to stand, straight back, shoulders wide and back. And you want to inhale and bring your arms up. And at the top of your inhale, you want to turn it around. Exhale. Push it down. Inhale up. Exhale down. And as you're doing this, you want to picture you drawing in divine light, divine energy from the universe, and pushing out all the stress down through the roots of your feet into the ground. This is an excellent exercise to do if you are actually outside and grounding. But even if you're not, it's still a great way to just quickly make sure that you are functioning optimally. Just a quick way to clear your chakras. But welcome. It is the equinox, and I hope everyone is having a fabulous start to their Aries season. I am personally feeling charged up, and that's why I'm on here with y'all, because it's been a minute, and I'm trying to find my way as a reader, and in doing so, I am realizing that I'm not an everyday reader. But I'm also, like, in a lot of people's lives, I'm also not really like an everyday friend. I'm not always there when you call, but I'm always on time type of person. It's because it takes a lot of energy to do this work. So the recharge time is real. And in my life outside of here, I do a lot of work with people, for people. And so I have to be mindful about my give and take. And that seems to be an overarching theme for today. It's just mindful about our give and take. It's mindful about balance because it's an equinox. And peace to all the folks in the chat. But yeah, it's an equinox. So the whole message of today is the balance of light and dark. And so we should be working and striving to find that balance with us between what we give and what we take, between our output and our input, like, how much, we just give and receive in general. And so it's a beautiful energy to start with. We're also going to be doing something a little bit new today because we're going to be doing a pick a card. So we're going to have two different choices to choose from. And we'll use the Witch's Familiar Oracle, which we got back. Yay. Remember when we lost this guy? So this is a new one. So you guys are getting the official unboxing over here. But yeah, this guy we are going to use to determine what the piles are going to be. And then each pile is going to get a card from Spirit Animal Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed, which, it's the spring equinox. It just looks like spring. Look at these colors, like it's animals. It's very appropriate for the day. We also have the Healing Energy Oracle because spring, spring cleaning, spring healing, it's all about bringing in that new energy and making sure that we're functioning optimally. And because once again, life is about balance, we're going to have a little bit of a reverence with the Rebel deck and get a card to kind of guide the energies with that. And last but not least, to wind it out, we're going to break open the Witch's Wisdom Tarot. And I just love this octave of purple in here. I just love the optics in here. Someone asked me, what shoes am I wearing? I'm actually wearing Uggs right now. They're rather comfy. Anyone saying, shout out to the bull who says I'm a slave to a druid spirit. That's like the most funny thing that I've read all week. Thank you for that, because if you actually understood the Druids, you would understand the polarity of that and energetically where everything is. Are you destined to have 2 kids? That is not the subject of this reading. There are definitely people out there who can do that reading for you. And if you would like to book a private reading where we can read whether you're going to have 2 kids or not, we can totally do that. And shout out to the random energies coming in and swirling. We're just going to and release those back out because the devil is a lie. So for pile number 1, we're gonna go ahead and see which card we get. Most High, Ancestors, Angels, Spirit Guides of our collective for pile number 1. What message do you have for them? Okay, and for pile 2, what guiding energy and principle do we have? Okay, so let's go ahead and make our selections. For pile 1, we have the rune Runjo, which has the flower and the bird. It's giving very much spring energy. It's giving very much nectar. And we also have Daggaz, which also has a butterfly. It also features some flowers. We got a chrysalis in there. So very much shout out to the ancestors for coming through and making sure that the spring energy is present, not only in the energy in the readings, but also in the imagery, because, you know, it's about balance. All right, so once again, go ahead and select your piles, and we're going to go ahead and get into it. So pile number 1, if you chose Wonjo, let's go ahead and do the rest of your reading. And I know a lot of people, they come, when they do pick a cards, they'll come with like pre-done piles and so forth, but I wanted to, oh, I love this deck. I wanted to give you guys kind of a more authentic experience and kind of shuffle as I go. But if you would prefer to have, you know, this done off camera, that can be doable, you know. We're figuring it out, but, you know, I just wanted to mostly come and hang out with you guys, spend a little bit of time, and hang out, because it's the equinox and it's all about community. And, you know, if it was olden times, we'd probably all be somewhere having a feast out in a glade, in a glen somewhere, in a valley. We'd probably all be feasting right now, and, you know, it'd be drums popping, it'd be fire circles, it'd be all sorts of things. So in the spirit of that, since we can't, what did NSYNC say in Digital Get Down? Since we can't get together naturally, we can get together on a digital screen. Okay, so let's get into this. And the rune deck comes with this handy dandy little guide to tell you what each of the runes mean. So for Wonjo, we have joy, pleasure, belonging, kindred, and prosperity. Don't that sound like spring? Like, let's read that again. Joy, pleasure, belonging, kindred, and prosperity. So if you chose pile 1, that is the overarching energy of your reading. And look at it, it's just very spring. It's giving spring is sprung. It's giving birds pollinating. It's giving things in bloom, your life in bloom. That's the energy of prosperity, is things blooming, things bursting forth. Something going from the seed stage to full fruition is definitely the vibe. So gratitude deck for our pile number ones. What energy do you have to guide them as they get into this spring season and into the astrological new year? What should they take with them besides their joy and prosperity? Okay, we have Frog Spirit, clear out the clutter. And this is beautiful. All right, we're gonna go through and get one of each, and then we're gonna go ahead and read. So I'm gonna go through and do these shuffles. But thanks everybody who's been tuning in, whether you have positivity to bring or even if you have negativity to bring, because this is the equinox and it's all about balance. And you know, it's important to show on these lives and not just, you know, preach, but actually practice healthy energetic boundaries and management and not letting people steal your joy or throw you off. And we have with that affirmation. I listen to myself and acknowledge my needs. I assert myself and retain my power. I am brave and gentle. I don't have to be afraid of others. I respect myself and am respected by others. Okay, so we have One Joe, we have Frog Spirit, we have that affirmation. Moving into the Rebel deck. Most High, ancestors, angels, spirit guides of our collective. The purpose of life is to be love. We're putting it simply. I can get into that deeper if you guys would really like a reading on that, but what the hell are you waiting for? Get that ish done. If you are waiting for a sign, well, here it is. Okay. I am loving this reading so far. Shout out to everybody who chose pile one. Your ancestors are definitely coming through in full effect, and they have some things to say. It could all be so simple, but you know, we would rather make it hard. You're most welcome, because honestly, life is really beautiful if we allow it to be. I know that the 3D matrix in which we live and the society and the system in which we live make things very hard for us. But in reality, the universe provides abundantly, and we have earth grounding. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, first thing that I'm noticing, because we're going to go through this in a systematic way. So first thing I'm noticing, commonalities of colors. We've got green, heavily aspected in these two cards, which is great for spring, good for the energy of new beginnings. We also heart chakra energy. We also have these two cards, which prominently feature red and also tied together. So these are more so your root chakra messages. And then to come through with the final message of grounding. Grounding is the first step to anything blooming. Grounding is the first step to anything blooming. Think about it. The seed has to go in the ground, or whatever growth medium, you know, if you're doing hydroponics, the seed has to be submerged. The seed has to be grounded into its power. The seed needs to be grounded into the seat where it can allow its power to flourish and burst forth, which is why we have this, I assert myself and retain my power. Because think about that. All the seed is doing when it's in that seed stage, and then it goes and it finally makes that burst when the little green shoot pops up and you first got that little seedling, that's just it asserting itself. That's it asserting itself and retaining its power. That is it going from potential energy to kinetic energy, which is all, you know, which is what the root chakra allows us to do. When we have a grounded and secure root chakra, it gives us a firm and stable foundation to build upon. When we respect ourselves and are respected by others, it is very difficult When we respect ourselves, it is very difficult for outside things to come and throw us off. Like that car alarm that's going on right now could very much throw us off. But you guys, we're here with it. I respect y'all. You respect me. And this too shall pass. This momentary annoyance shall pass. And we know that we are safe and secure and grounded in this moment and in this energy. And that one monkey don't stop the show. So in the interest of that, what are you waiting for? You were waiting to feel grounded. You were waiting to have that sense of safety and that sense of security. You were waiting to declutter, because this is the thing. When you go to plant seeds, you have to clear the ground. You can't plant it in the midst of other roots and other weeds and other plants that are already growing, because you'll be putting it in an environment where it has to compete and struggle at its onset. Whereas if you just clear out the clutter energetically from your life, if you clear out the clutter energetically from your ground, if you clear out the clutter energetically from your root chakra, you will find that you now have fertile ground with which to plant these seeds, so that you can get to your joy and your pleasure and your prosperity. Doesn't the bird look joyful? He's like wings fully extended, chest out, like facing new day, probably got a beak full of nectar, like living his best life. And that's what you should be doing. And that is where we are getting to. That is where we are getting to in this season. Also, Aries season, we got the big fire energies coming through. Like, what the hell are you waiting for? Like, what are you waiting for? Honestly, ask yourself that. And we all, especially me, I'm neurospicy. My executive dysfunction be dysfunctioning. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to tea. Amazing. Leaf juice. Magical. But we all have moments of doubt, and we all have moments of hesitancy, and we all have moments of apprehension, because not every seed that you plant into the ground does sprout. And so, as any sort of creative, in the immortal words of Erykah Badu, we are artists, and we're sensitive about our ish. It is very raw and vulnerable to begin anything new, because there's always someone in the background who can find something negative to say about it. There's always someone in the foreground who can be like, well, I don't think it's a good idea, or whatever. It's always going to be outside energy and outside obstacles. The seed's biggest impediment to growth is the outside environment. It's about whether it gets enough moisture. It's about whether it gets enough sunlight. It's about whether it's warm enough. And all of those things, all of those energies have to coalesce in order to have time be right and divine. So if you're waiting for a sign, this is it, because this is the thing. Everything unfolds when it's supposed to. And as much as we can feel like we are behind, or as much as we can feel like I should be doing this, I should be more ahead, I should, conditions have to be perfect. Conditions have to align. A lot of times fate has to do a lot of the work. The universe has to step in and make ways. And it can be this very, tentative period of that moments when the seed is germinating and we're looking for it and we don't see any growth. And so it's like, it can be very easy in that time to get discouraged, to get, oh man, but this is the sign. If you're looking for a sign, here it is. The sign is that in the meantime and in between time, what we can be doing to prepare for our harvest is to declutter and to go from energetically. Let's take that up to real world applications. if you are in the midst of trying to get a new job, you need to declutter your schedule and really optimize your time and come up with ways that you can make the most of it. If you are going to be having relationships and you want better relationships, you need to declutter the relationships that are just taking up space, that are not serving you with your space. If you want to bring in fresh energy and just to wake up, and that feeling when you wake up to a clean house and it's just like, I don't know. I have a Taurus moon, so I feel that way when I wake up to a clean house. Maybe I'm projecting that onto you guys. But there's a sense of peace and calm when things are as they should be. And that's what we're supposed to be doing in this time, Pile One, as we get ready for our season of joy and pleasure and prosperity, but also decluttering our previous mindsets and expectations so that we can actually allow for the idea of joy and prosperity, actually allow for the idea of good things happening to us and coming our way. And a lot of the times that what we're waiting for is to feel like it's actually possible for good things to happen. But if you're looking for a sign that it's actually possible for good things to happen, here it is, here it is, here it is. Because just like the earth, and this is a wonderful card to get for the equinox, because just like the earth in this previous season seemed hard and cold and dead. And if you came to Earth during winter, you might think it was a desolate planet. You might think, dang, how do they survive here? Look how hard the ground is. Nothing grows. But that's also only if in your one hemisphere and in one area of that hemisphere. But it shows the diversity and the timing, the divine timing of life, that you can plant a seed in the winter and it's not going to germinate, and it's not the seed's fault. It's not the seed's fault. It's not a bad seed. It's just poor timing. It's just poor environment, and nothing can flourish outside of its proper environment. If you go and you plant a seed in the fall, it's still going to have the same effect. Like, you have to do things in their seasons and in their time, and when all the things acquiesce, and you have to be patient with that, because a lot of times we don't see when people plant those first crops. Like, I wish that every person had to do like an agriculture class or just grow a plant one time, because our disconnection from the earth really takes away from how much we respect natural cycles, from how much we actually respect the time that things take. Because if you had to plant, if in order to eat, you had to plant seeds and then wait for them to grow, you would learn to respect how much you cannot rush things, and how little power you do have, but also how much power you do have. Because you have the power to make that time of waiting miserable, or you have the power to make it joyous, and it all comes down to your perspective. If you are sitting there and all you are thinking about is how it's not here yet and how it's not coming, then you're not doing anything but being in a lack mentality and discouraging yourself. But if in that time you are working on clearing out the clutter on all levels of your life, if in that time you are working on listening to yourself and acknowledging your needs, because this is the thing. It's no point in giving you blessings if you can't maintain them. And if you're not acknowledging your needs and listening to yourself and listening to your intuition and actually listening to the guidance that's going to allow you to, cultivate these things in a healthy way and keep them going and keep them sustained, because that's the thing. When sometimes crops fail, And sometimes that's on external circumstances, but sometimes that is on a negligent gardener. Sometimes crops fail, and sometimes that is circumstantial, but sometimes it is the fault of a poor gardener. And I don't say poor in terms of resources. I say poor in terms of lack mentality. Because at the end of the day, we are brave and gentle. We don't have to be afraid of others. We don't have to worry about those outside circumstances if we adequately prepare, if we adequately prepare the ground, and if we are listening to ourselves and acknowledging our own needs, then there's very little that we have to fear from the outside. And this is also a huge microcosm for what is going on in our society right now, because there is very much a frequency of fear being pumped into reality that just makes you feel like, you know, your root chakra is in danger. And that, you know, but at the end of the day, we have everything we need. And the earth provides abundantly. And last time I checked, food grow out the ground. And water comes from the sky. And those are pretty much the things that humans need to survive. And those is outside right now. You can go outside and get those right now without any paywall. Now, if you allow somebody to put a paywall between you and nature, that is your business. But it doesn't have to be. We don't have to actually live that way. It's people choose to and bless their hearts and bless their hearts and bless their hearts. But we don't actually have to. It's not. There are options. There are options and choices. Frog spirit also makes me think of the balance of earth and water, because amphibians are dualistic creatures. They can survive in land and on water, which leads to also the theme of adaptability. Being able to have a firm footing, a firm, stable footing and foundation, no matter what environment you are in. And that is a function of trusting yourself and trusting whatever it is that guides you. Frogs also, I didn't even realize these had numbers. These have numbers. Okay, so 28. 28 breaks down to 10, which is a 1 in numerology, which is all about new beginnings. And I was just about to say that the frog is giving me, you feeling froggy? Well, leap then energy. It's giving big leap of faith. It's giving big binya. Like, now I want to watch Gullah Gullah Island, but it's giving big, if you feeling froggy, leap. What are you waiting for? The energy of Aries season is ripe with opportunity. It is ripe with prosperity and the world truly being your oyster. And if you are so inclined to step into that and take advantage of it, you can find amazing fruits of your labor. I also love that this Earth card, and I'm so pleased with this spread in general and the decks that the ancestors particularly told me to use and how they're balancing each other out energetically. And I will list this affirmation down below in case anybody would like to say it, use it. I do affirmation mixes sometimes that I listen to in my sleep or also during meditation. You guys can create your own, or if you are interested, you can hit me up and I can send you a link to download some of your own, or send you links to sound healers that I work with that I think are excellent. But when we talk about clear out the clutter, that also means emotionally. Life is hard sometimes, and what did 50 Cent say? Death gotta be easy because life is hard. It'll leave you physically, mentally, emotionally scarred. And sometimes we need to clear out that clutter. Sometimes we need to do a de-scarification process. Sometimes we have to clear those waters. We have to clear those waters. We have to clear those channels. Because nothing can flow to us if we are blocked. If anywhere in our kundalini, anywhere in our energy systems, if there are hitches where energy is getting stuck and allowed to stagnate, like think about what happens to any stagnant water. Think about what happens to anything that is supposed to flow when it pulls without movement. Stagnant water is one of the breeding grounds for toxicity. So when your energy becomes stagnant, it is very easy to become a breeding ground for toxic energy and low vibrational entities. So we gotta clear that out, which is why we started today's reading with a Qigong exercise, a very, very simple, like 2-step in, out breath thing that you can do at any point in your day. You can step outside if you're in a meeting and you're starting to feel triggered and overwhelmed. You can just go and clear out the clutter. I recommend everybody look into emotional freedom technique, which is like the tapping, which is also an excellent way to just move energy quickly, because we live in a world where everybody doesn't have the time to meditate for 8 hours a day with the various mudras and the poses and the fully dedicated practice. So we don't want to microwave our healing, but we want to be able to do things throughout our day to keep us grounded, to keep us energetically centered, and to keep us mindful, because those things allow for us to truly embody and to truly allow our will to be done. Because when we are blocked, when our chakras are blocked, energy starts stagnating. So let's say you got some heartache. So energy is stagnating in your heart, which means that if you're trying to create something that has anything to do with your heart, you are going to be bringing that tainted energy into the equation. Think about it as cross-contamination. If the heart chakra, where we'll go back to the stagnant water. So if the heart chakra has stagnant water and you dip something in it, and then you've also got to take that up to the crown chakra. Now the crown chakra is contaminated with the pollution of the heart chakra. And so I don't know if this is making sense, but it's making sense. And so that's why it's so very important that we are taking the time to let it rain and clear it out. And if you can go and stand in the rain every once in a while, I would highly recommend that. If you can go and dip your feet in the earth, I would highly recommend that. Grounding is super duper duper important. The earth, literally, like, there are clinically proven studies. Like, it's funny when I see, these skits nowadays when it's be like the healers be like and woo woo woo, because all of the ish that we are talking about now has been clinically proven in the scientific studies that you people respect so much. So put some respect not on my name, but on the healing modalities that are older than time in memory itself. Like, there's a reason that people have been recommending these things for thousands of years. It's because they work. People out here trying to reinvent the wheel, like we put angles on it. That defeats the purpose. Anyway, thank you for listening to my rant. But grounding is so important. Go and put your feet in the earth. It literally pulls out negative ions. It literally pulls out because the earth is electric and so are you. The earth is electric and so are you. Everything actually is. Everything has a charge. Everything has an energy. Everything is moving. You can also ground on trees. I would recommend asking their permission. Like, hey, because you don't know what that tree has going on. You can't see its root system. You don't know what is happening. So always ask any sentient being's permission, before you exchange energy with it, before you go and dump your negativity on it. You always want to say, hey, do you have space and capacity for this? And that also goes with our relationships with people. Check in with folks. Hey, do you have space and capacity for this right now? Because that also goes into, shout out to the ancestors, that also goes into belonging in kindred, which is also a theme of this. And in order for us to align and find our tribe, we have to be being the truest iterations of ourselves, which means that we have to be free of the triggers, because the triggers are just the remnant effects of weak people trying to break you. And they failed. They failed. It was a big fail. Giant fail. Huge L out this piece. And so because of that, and I say this with all the compassion, and I say this with all of the love that I have, with all of the love in the universe, but did you die? No, you did not. You are still here. You are still drawing breath. You still have the ability to feel joy. You still have the ability to live and breathe and see a sunset and make love and eat your favorite food. And so, in the spirit of that, it is very, very necessary that we do not allow negative things to steal our joy, that we do not allow past bad experiences with people to cross-contaminate and taint our new experiences with people. We don't, what is that? Old wine and new wineskins, like old wineskins. Like it's a biblical quote about something about how you can't put old wine and new wineskins, because it's like, what are you doing? Leave the past with the past. Clear out the clutter. Clear out the clutter from past relationships, from people who did not deserve you, from people who, from people who did not deserve you, from people who did not see you, from people who were not worthy of your energy. Clear it out, because joy and prosperity is on the other side of that. Your blooming is on the other side of that. Your harvest is on the other side of that. Your belonging and the people who are kindred to you are on the other side of that. Follow your heart. Follow your joy. Your true self is found in those places. Follow your joy. And I love also, I don't know if you guys can see, the stages of development in this flower, in this card. Because we have one that is still in the bud stage. We have one that is like starting to open. And then we have one in full bloom, which gives the message of respect the time that things take, because everything takes its time. And respect yourself no matter what season you're in, whether you are in full bloom, whether you are just that first little seedling sprout. You are beautiful and divine, and you are exactly where you are supposed to be, and you have everything that you need to succeed. And the only thing that you need to do is listen to yourself and acknowledge your needs, because then you assert and retain your power, because you are brave and gentle. And so you don't have to be afraid of nobody, because you respect yourself, and thus others respect you. Because when you carry yourself like you respect yourself, people know not to bring certain nonsense to your doorstep. They just do. You know how you'd be like, well, why do certain people never get tested? Because they don't have test me energy. They don't, like those little dolls that be in the store. And you know how like some toys say try me and then other ones don't? Like expensive toys don't be like try me. Like toys of high value, toys that know their worth, they'll be like try me. They'd be like, no, you got to pay for the full experience. You got to pay. But no, so we're leaving that try me energy. We're leaving that try me energy. We're leaving that free sample. We're leaving that free sample energy. We're raising the price. We're raising the price of admittance because it is wondrous over here. And the bare minimum just won't cut it. If we are living in prosperity, what we gonna do with bare minimum? Give it to somebody else in charity? Zakat? What are we gonna do with bare minimum? When you have a full cup, a cup with this much water doesn't appeal to you. You're like, oh, you can keep that. You obviously need it more than I do, because if that's all you got to offer, baby, you ain't got very much to offer at all. Like, yes. We're dropping the free sample energy. No. This is the same reason Bentleys don't advertise. No. It's 9. We are leaving that in the past, bro. No. Because the people who you truly belong with, the people who you're truly kindred with, also have full cups. And then you know what you can do? You can exchange full cups and it'll be a great experience because their cup will be full of something else. So you'll be like, oh, well, I have a full cup of Earl Grey tea. Well, what do you have? And they'll be like, well, I have a full cup of kiwi juice. So you'll be like, ooh, and then you'll trade and then you'll be like, oh, that was such an enriching experience. I got to partake of your cup. You got to partake of mine. And now we are both enriched for the experience. I got to have a glimpse of your perspective and you got to have a glimpse of mine. And that is how beautiful all interactions could be. But people be out here with nothing in their cups, just trying to go around and sample everybody else's cup, and they be over there fully satiated, and other people be out here like, I'm feeling a little parched. Yeah, that's because you've been pouring into places that do not deserve a trickle. You've been outpouring in places that don't deserve a drizzle of your sauce. Do you understand me? Do you smell what I'm cooking? Do you smell the incense? I know y'all can see the smoke. I hope light some Nag Champa in the crib so you can be here with me, because this one's almost out. We about to have to light another one. So I hope you have enjoyed your reading, Pile 1. It has been an honor and a blessing to sit in your energy. I wish you all the joy and prosperity of your heart. Just make sure that you are grounding. You're clearing out the clutter. You are listening to yourself and acknowledging your needs, and you're respecting yourself, and that you are taking those divine leaps. You're getting it done, because if you're waiting for a sign, then this was it. All right. And just like that, we're going to get into pile 2. Hope everybody is having a divine solstice. I mean, equinox. Hilarious. I be feeling like frolicking on days like this. Like, unfortunately, it's like it's not even 60 degrees outside right now, or else I would be true. We would have done this reading outside if it was warmer. Like, I know y'all can see the sun cascading in, but we would have been outside with it. So once the weather breaks, let me know if you guys are interested in getting into some readings outdoors, get some scenery. We can go by the river, get different energies. Let me know what y'all feel. All right, so if you need a little bit of a reminder, the card for pile 2, and if you are coming in right now, you know, you might want to go back and watch pile 1 if that resonates for you more so. The card for pile 1 was Wonjo, but the card for pile 3 is daggers. And if you see, we have this butterfly, we've got these flowers, we've got this light bursting behind it, we've got this chrysalis. And the energy of this rune specifically is breakthrough, enlightenment, balance point, transformation, and awakening. We got balance point. We got the balance point moon. We got the balance point rune on the equinox, the equal night and day, and we got the balance point rune. Shout out to pile 2. I like, you know what? I don't be having favorites. I don't be having favorites. This is not a favoritism thing. But let's go ahead. Ancestors, angels, most high, spirit guides of pile 2. What messages do we have as we step into this astrological new year, as we step into this fiery Aries season? What energy should we use as our guiding principle? Ooh, okay. So we have wasp spirit. Sometimes life stings. Let's go ahead and do healing energy. I'm glad that you got this today. I'm glad. I'd be just so happy if anybody is at all enriched by anything that I do. Like if I smile at a baby on the street and the baby laughs a little bit, like they made. I'm a very simple person. Peace. I am unwavering in the face of fear. I come to my senses and embrace challenge. I am determined to think with gentleness and calm. I find inner silence and become a manifestation of peace. Right after sometimes life stings. Ooh, we about to get into this one. I like where this is going already. Let's go. All right. Now we got the Irreverent Rebel deck. Because, you know, after the balance of the peace and the tranquility of the healing deck, you know, we balance. You got dark side, got to have a little say too. Got to have a little ratchet with the classy. Hood sophisticate. You got a feeling you just can't shake. That little voice inside you, listen to that ish. Okay. And last but not least, we have our Witch's Oracle. And we have fire, passion. Okay. Let's get into this. Because this is definitely a completely different vibe from pile 1. And this is my first pick a card. So if you guys are here, yay, we're doing this together. It's our first pick a card. But I, as a reader and as an energetic conduit, am just very pleased because I know that this message is for a completely different set of people, because this is a completely different message. It is completely different energy. And it does all come in the same vein, which is like the beauty of spirit in that it's a harmonious message. The messages are in harmony with each other, but they're not the same. They're not the same octave. They're not the same frequency, but they are in harmony with each other, and they are in harmony with the energies of the day. And that's beautiful because that has to do with just the principle of the day anyway, in terms of equal night and equal day. And we got the Nag Champa popping over here, drinking some Earl Grey tea. Rooibos is also a good choice. I've been getting into that recently. It's very much it's very much a South African tea blend, but it's also very earthy without having caffeine. So if you like a black tea, but you don't, you want to actually get some hydration in without, the caffeine's dehydrating effects. Because I don't know if anybody knows, but caffeine is actually dehydrating like alcohol. So if you're drinking Red Bull and alcohol, you should probably double up on the water. Life is about balance. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Pile 2, without further ado, Daggers. Breakthrough, enlightenment, balance point, transformation, and awakening. Okay. What a beautiful message on the first day of spring. Breakthrough, awakening, enlightenment, transformation on the first day of spring. And honestly, we could have probably gotten that, because what do we have in the picture besides the quintessential image of transformation, the butterfly? And we also have the chrysalis. And one of my favorite butterfly facts is that I don't know about anybody else, but they taught us very poor animal knowledge when we were kids. Because the way they describe butterflies' evolution when you're a kid, they make it sound like, oh, the butterflies just go in a cocoon and the caterpillar just grows wings and now it's a butterfly. Yay. Like, that's literally how they depicted it in Bug's Life. Like, this is the butterfly propaganda. However, butterflies, when they are that's not a caterpillar in there anymore. It's just goo. Literally, it breaks down into composite cells, into like soup of life, and then the cells reform into a butterfly. So what used to be a pancreas, I don't know if caterpillars have pancreases, work with me. What used to be a thorax is now a beautiful section of a wing. And do you understand how miraculous that is? Like, honestly, how miraculous that is to have something go from something to a completely different thing. Yeah, that is breakthrough. And that is such a symbol of the process of enlightenment, because when you actually evolve and get to a certain point, you look back on the old you with this like really compassionate, pity isn't the word, but it's very much like, oh, poor little Tink Tink. You was doing the best that you could with what you had. But you very much understand that that is not a version of you that exists anymore. That version of you was running off of operating systems that you have broken through, that you have transcended. It was dealing with thought processes that you have evolved past. So you couldn't make those same decisions or be in those same circumstances if you tried. And the universe will show you, because it'll cycle you through situations where sometimes life stings. It'll cycle you through situations where sometimes life stings. But because this is a 6 and a 4, which 6 is home, 4 is structure, adds up to 10, 1, new beginning. So because you have done that transformation, even though life stings, you find this weird sense of peace. You find this weird sense of peace. You're just like, I've got to be a new person, because the previous me would be wringing your neck right now. Like, the previous me would be crashing out. And yet all I have is this deep abiding peace. And that's the reason why we listen to our intuition. That's the reason why we listen to that little feeling. That's the reason why we listen to our first mind, because that guidance allows us to avoid unnecessary moments of life stinging And as much as the wasp is also about life seeing, wasp spirit animals also have to do very much about protecting and home, because wasps are very protective of their nests, and home is where the heart is. So you should be equally as protective about your home, about where your innermost divine self dwells, where your love dwells. You need strong boundaries around that jewel. That's how you protect the peace. That's how you protect the peace, is with strong boundaries and fire and passion to fuel those boundaries. To understand that as Aries season begins, I'm trying to think of what's going on in this card. It seems to be like a person dancing in the flames. It's like a person dancing in the flames. And that's very much a thing as far as like fire dancing. So as we step into our enlightenment and as we step into our transformation, also balance your peace with passion. Balance your crown chakra activities with your root chakra activities. Balance your crown and third eye activities with your root and sacral activities, because you need peace, but you also need passion. You need both. You need both. Because if you got too much peace, then you just a monk. Then you might as well just go join a monastery. And this is the thing, that some people's paths, I struggle every day. Every day I'm a half a second away from going to join a monastery. I just be looking outside and I'll be like, ooh, y'all tripping. Y'all be tripping. But in a world where people be tripping, you need your peace, but you have to also have the passion to keep those boundaries up, to keep people up off you, to say, hey, get your hand out my pocket. Don't tread on me. You need that balance. It's not about destroying your ego, because you need ego to exist in this 3D world. But that's why it's about balance, because you can't have too much fire and too much passion. And then you become an egomaniac. You become one of these people who is purely fire and rage and passion, and they don't have no chill. And we all know those people. And while they are good for what they good for, you don't necessarily want them in your zombie apocalypse homestead. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you're thinking about, you're building a new world, the fiery, passionate people have their place, but so do the peaceful people. And the best people are the people who, like Batman's utility belt, keep both on the hip, just in case they got to come up off the waist with either one. It is about, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And that is what listening to your intuition allows you to do. That little voice inside you, listen to that itch. Because when you got that nagging feeling, it's always nagging. And it's only nagging because we don't listen to it the first time. So we should really stop using that word to describe intuition. It's the same way that people be like, women be nagging. And it's like, what if you did what sis asked the first time? She wouldn't still be bringing it up. It's simple. So no, your intuition don't be nagging at you. You don't be listening to it. And so when you take the time and you listen to the intuition, you can find the times when you need to use that passion, because that's all discernment is. Discernment is just, and that's one of the functions of enlightenment, is you get discernment. You get the ability to go, is this a situation for passion? Is this a situation for peace? What did Erykah Badu say? This incense can turn into a pack of Newports and a Colt 45 real quick. Like, it's about balance, and it's about duality. It is about, what did they say? The balance point. It is about the balance point. It is not about being too much in either direction. So if you had a message, pile 2, to take with you as you step into your new season of transformation, as you start to feel your butterfly wings unfurl and you catch that breeze for the first time and you take flight, understand that life sometimes does sting, But it's only sometimes. Notice the sometimes. And if we only focus on the stings, then it can be very easy to only think that stings occur. Because if that's, the energy that you are giving the most power to, then that's also what you're drawing in with your consciousness. But life only stings sometimes. And in those moments, we can be unwavering in the face of fear. We can come to our senses and embrace challenge. Life stings, but we can embrace that challenge. We can be like, I have more. Give me some more. Like, what's up? Like, what's up? Like, that didn't break me. You can have that. And it can be, you can use your fire and your passion to fuel that, but from a very peaceful place, from a very grounded, unwavering place. And it's very interesting that the last pile got earth as an energy and this pile got fire as an energy, and those are very much the elements of spring. It is very much a time Aries season fire, but it also has a function of dealing with the earth. So this is a very balanced message that has to do with where you are in your journey. I feel like pile 1 is probably the precursor to pile 2. And if you are at neither place, if you are somewhere further behind or further ahead in the journey, hopefully you can still glean something from this. Because being determined to think with gentleness and calm is rather freaking illusionary. When every time you go on social media, you are constantly being inundated with just low vibrational, oh, bro, if she didn't respond to your text and she said she fell asleep, she not really sleeping. Oh, like if, this, that, and the third. And it's just always something to try to make you think in an uncalm fashion, to allow your mental space to not be calm, for you to be thinking in an erratic, for you to be reacting and not acting. But if you are determined to think with gentleness and calm, if you take a deep breath and sit with the information before just being triggered, because that's all being triggered is. It's like, the knee test that the doctor do when they slap it, it hit you on that point and you go, that's all being triggered is a knee-jerk reaction. And you can't even help it because the neural pathway has been so deeply ingrained that it's very, very difficult to undo that. But that, on the other side of enlightenment, anybody who's here for this particular message, you understand and you have evolved past those need for knee-jerk reactions. And you go, ooh, that would have previously triggered me. Aw. And then you can take those moments and understand that even though it might still sting, it don't hurt like it would have when you were injured. Because think about it like this. If I come up and tap you on the arm and it's not injured, you might not even register it. You might just be like, oh, you might not even notice that I touched you, just because in the scan of human interaction, it's negligible. Hey, how you doing? Whereas if I go and touch you on the arm and you have a wound there, you have an open bleeding wound, or even if you just have a bruise, even if it's just a little bit tender, if I come up and touch you on it, you're like, ow, did I hurt you? Technically, yes. Did I intentionally cause you harm? No. Would I have done it if I had known that was a trigger point? No. But that is such a great analogy for how pain and the perception of how someone inflicted pain, but the person perceiving it is like, ow, you just hurt me. No, the hurt was pre-existing. I agitated a pre-existing hurt, but I didn't cause that hurt. I'm not whatever gave you that bruise 2 weeks ago that you're still healing from. I'm not that. I just came and brushed up against it, and now I'm getting the response in the full force as if I caused the injury in the first place. And that is why it is important to heal your triggers. That is why it's important to be determined to think with gentleness and calm, because the gentleness comes in as the tempering to the passion. Because sometimes things deserve wrath, but sometimes things don't. And when we are triggered, we can feel like a situation deserves wrath because we are triggered, but we are having a disproportionate reaction to the stimuli. I just tapped you. If there wasn't a bruise there, it wouldn't have even registered. But because there's a bruise there, now there's pain. But if you react with gentleness, as the person receiving the hurt, you're thinking with gentleness, you go, oh, you know what? They didn't even know that was there. They didn't even mean to do that. It did hurt, but I should probably just go and ice this. That just reminds me that I need to see to this. That reminds me that I need to take care of this and nurture this and work on this some more. It's clearly still tender and still needs to be healed. That's what happens when you are triggered and you react with calm and gentleness. And if you are the person who inflicted the hurt and you react with calm and gentleness, or you act and think with calm and gentleness, then you go, oh, even though it wasn't my intent to cause that harm, I still apologize that you are harmed, because the last thing that I endeavor is to bring pain to you in any sense of your reality. And it could all be so simple. Literally every interaction could be that simple. Every misunderstanding we've ever had with anybody on the planet could be that simple, but people are not unwavering in the face of fear. They waver like a mug. They get weak in the knees. They can hardly speak. They lose all control when something comes over them. And it's not from love. It is from fear. It is from the opposite polarity. But understand that both can have those effects. I'd rather get weak in the knees from love. Random hair in my mouth. The hair is just long now. It's just long now. I've accepted it. Yeah, we're there. But I'd rather be weak in the knees from love than fear. I would rather be coming from that space and from that polarity. But I find inner silence and become a manifestation of peace. And that inner silence part is so important. And shout out to everybody who doesn't have an internal dialogue, because apparently y'all have inner silence all the time. Bless you. But to everybody who's a little bit neurospicy, or everybody who has an internalized negative parent voice, or everybody who just, dealt with constantly being inundated, and so your first thought is a little bit negative, it is important to find that inner silence and not to be combative with those voices when they come up, because then they just gonna want to fight you back. But much like we said, calmness, gentleness, say, thought. I understand why we thought that previously. It's not true, but that's okay. And you just gently redirect. You just gently go, okay, no, thank you. But thank you for bringing that to my awareness, because that little voice is just, it thinks it's protecting you. It just doesn't know what danger is, because it has been so primed to attack that anything moves and it's like, what's going on over there? It's shooting first and asking questions later. And so you just want to go, hey. I understand, and I appreciate you being the sentry on the wall. I appreciate you, Trigger, for being the sentry on the wall and for alerting me to even the slightest hint of danger when we were still very sensitive and we couldn't bear to have that be aggravated. But we're healing now, and so we can bear more. So you don't have to be as watchful. You don't have to be as fiery and as passionate. You can have a little bit more peace. You can be a little bit more silent inner voice that's trying to warn us about the dangers of everything. Because that's all anxiety is. It's like, did you think about that? Or did you think about this? Or did you think? Did you think? Did you think? And it's like, yes, I thought about all of that. Yes, I did. And it's okay. And the things that we didn't think about, we'll deal with if they arise. And that is what's born of trusting yourself. That is what's born of finding that balance point within yourself. It is this balance of being a warrior in a garden. I'm not a killer, but don't push me. It's very much that energy. It's very much like having all of the tools you need in your toolkit. It's about having everything you need on your utility belt. It is about being able to be in your root chakra when you need to be, or be in your crown chakra when you need to be, or being your heart chakra when you need to be, or being your sacral chakra when you need to be. It is about balance. It is not about being top heavy. It's not about being bottom heavy. It's not about being too grounded in reality. It's not about being too out there in the ethers. It's a nice little even middle way. Like the fulcrum. Like, you know, when you, I don't know, I have a thing for when I balance things on something precarious and I manage to get it to not fall. That's a really good feeling. It gives you like this little like, yes, I did that. Look at it. It's perfectly balanced. Do that with yourself. Do that with your energy. Find the peace that comes from knowing you are capable of dealing with whatever arises. Because that's what's on the other side of fear. That's what allows you to be unwavering in the face of fear. Is like, and? Like, I understand this is happening. I understand consciously that this is happening, but, and? It only affects your reality as much as you allow it to. It only has as much power as you allow it to have. So don't give fear that power. Don't give it that power to take you off your rocker. Don't let the fact that life stings steal your peace, because it's always going to sting, but it's also going to be sweet. It's also going to be sweet. It's also going to be beautiful. There's some sacred geometry happening in the background of this card, in addition to the solar plexus energy, which is very much that this is the seat of your fire. That's your inner sun, your solar. That's your inner sun, and that is what you use in moments when life stings to go, you know what? This too shall pass. Everything has a season. And as we are stepping into one season from another season, this is an excellent point to remember that nothing lasts forever. Not winter, but also not even spring. And so it is important as we step into this transformation and this breakthrough. And one of also the facets of enlightenment is being present, is being completely present in your reality, and not living in the past and the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and not living in the future and the what ifs, but understanding that having peace with both of those energies, and understanding that you are at your most powerful when you are fully consecrated in right now, because it gives you the power and the ability to react with the maximum amount of yourself. Because instead of half of your consciousness being on next Tuesday worried about that bill that you got to pay, or in the past and worrying about that argument that you had with somebody else, now if you're fully present, you can make decisions that lead to better outcomes than the one that you are disappointed with in the past, or than the one that you're struggling with in the future. You will find that you're fully equipped, and your intuition is the line. That little feeling that you just can't shake, listen to that. That is the guiding force, because you know, our minds, as beautiful as our minds are very easily programmed just by repetition. Trauma and symbols are very easy ways to program your mind. That's why every company has a logo. That's why every company has a logo. That's why every company has a logo. And why I can put up the logo and you'll know exactly what company is. And I don't even have to say nothing about the names. I don't even got to give you a full breakdown. I can just blur it out and you can see the colors and the faint shape and you'll still be able to recognize it. That's how powerful your mind is. But the problem with that is that that power can be used for good or for evil. And the discerning comes in from your heart chakra. It comes in from those little feelings that you just can't shake, that little voice inside you. That's that's how you know passion or peace. That's how you know. Oh man, I'm so grateful for y'all. I'm so grateful for this message. I'm so grateful for this time that we've had today. My favorite things to do are to be in community and to be in sacred space and to be in divine ritual, to be a divine conduit for light. So I am grateful to everyone who commented in the comments, from the highest vibrational comments and the people who aligned with this and got exactly what they needed from it, to the lowest vibrational comments and the people who came and tried to throw dirt. Bless their hearts, bless their little hearts. Oh, it's adorable. It's adorable. It's the type of thing, once again, the other side of enlightenment, it's the type of thing that I would have previously felt the need to flex on. I'd have felt the need to tell them all that I am and, you know, refute. In case anybody's wondering to what I'm referring to, somebody on here earlier said that I was a slave to a druid spirit, which is, anyway. But I say all that to say, when you know who you are, people telling you who you are does not have an actual effect on you. You go, ooh, that's wrong, but bless your heart, you do have the right to be wrong. You do. And I wish that for all of us. I wish that sense of peace for all of us. I wish the deep peace of knowing who you are, knowing your light and your dark, so that nobody can put nothing on you that ain't yours. They can't tell you, well, you do this. No, I know exactly what I do when I'm being trashed. That's not one of them. That's not, yeah, blessed, like they lost, and you know, they don't even want to be found. That's the craziest part. They lost and they happy in their lostness. They are out there in the forest trying to lead other people off the path and bless their hearts, but not over here, not on my watch, not on this channel. We don't feed the trolls. You don't feed things you don't want to grow. Why? Like, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to the energy of being fortified within yourself and the energy of truth. The energy of truth in general, because whether it is the truth about you or the truth about somebody you love or the truth about the world or the truth about something you know to be true in your heart, whether it's a spiritual experience that you have, truth is like, I don't even know what is as solid as truth. I would say mountains, but even mountains erode. Truth is, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to sit with this, but if you ground into truth, you will be the most unshakable, because nothing can tell. It's all not going to be true. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. I understand that's how you feel, but that's not true. Oh, you're this, you're that, you're all of the above. Like, seen with the baddest, heard with the best, got it locked down from the east to the west. Like, I don't know why I just quoted Little Bow Wow, but it's been a fun reading. I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I am truly grateful to have been able to spend this time. Shout out to everybody who commented in the chat. Shout out to everybody who came through. We've been on here for a minute. Shout out to everybody who rocked out the entire time, all the likes. You guys are beautiful. If you are interested in anything else I do besides this, I do readings, I do a little bit of everything. You can follow me on Instagram to stay tuned. I do music. If you're interested in any of that, that's on all the streamings. Just search Imah X or Khenetic Media. Yeah, I love y'all. I am sending the most divine energy your way. May you have all of your heart's desires, all of your purest heart's desires, abundance and joy and love, and in whatever iterations and facets they come to you. So it's been a riff. It's been a reading is effing fundamental, and we are out. Yeah, anybody, I don't see anybody having any questions or anything in the chat, so we're gonna go ahead and end it here. Be well, be blessed. I love you guys.